Remember, this is the time to use the heart virtues, to exercise them above all other times, as they will stand out. They will reveal your grace, and that of the one you truly represent.
Yeah, I've heard you use the term local universe several times today, and it seems like a new term to me. I think I know what you mean when you say it, but could you define it just to be sure?
Yes. One's local universe is the dimensional field that the individual is in moment to moment. For example, my local universe shifted many times just today as I was at home in New York organizing for my trip, then drove to an airport, boarded a plane, entered another airport, met you, and now I'm sitting here in your office in Minneapolis. My local universe embraces every one of those spaces or environments. Each has its own energetic field that is the composite of a few people, or in some cases, like the airport, thousands of people. I can feel this composite field, sense the frequencies, or I can choose to turn down my sensitivity so I can focus more internally. I can also choose to enhance the composite energetic field through my behavior, thoughts, or feelings. Certain environments I have more control over than others. For example, if you work in an office building, you have some control over your personal office. But if you go to the cafeteria, you must blend or mesh with the composite field that exists there. So your local universe is wherever you are in the moment. And wherever that is, from a physical or geographic point of view, you are also present in other dimensions. And in these higher dimensions, you may shift your perception or awareness to a different local universe. The term local in this case only means it's your present focus of attention and energy. And this is important because it means we're not tethered to our physical geography. Wherever you are, in terms of your local universe, remember you are the presence of God and Spirit. You are like a sun within the sky of your environment, and this sun expresses light. But it also absorbs the informational codes or inputs of your local universe, and you can feel this absorption flowing into your soul, where it is processed with ease and positioned in coherence for your human instrument to make use of. There is a saying within the text of liminal cosmogony that is very appropriate here. Let your universe be the altar upon which the consciousness of spirit can descend. So in a way, your local universe is a portal through which the consciousness of spirit can enter your human domain. When I said earlier that my day included many geographical shifts, I didn't mention all of the internal shifts because partly they would be too numerous to mention, and partly because they are difficult to describe in words. As we say, it's like trying to put a costume on an angel. Does this answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. Thanks, by the way. I do want to return to my question about Lyricus, but as you were talking, something else popped into my mind and that I wanted to ask you about.
Yes, good. It's wise to be instinctual and follow the sudden impulses when they arrive from your heart. Spontaneity and living instinctually is all connected to a love-centered life, because only then can you live in the moment. I commend you for changing the conversation as your heart tells you. If we don't return to your list of questions, don't worry. It's only because our higher selves found a new way to engage, and this new way is always better than the old, predetermined way. When you operate in the currents of love, you can have confidence that you know just the right gesture, a word to say, or thought to hold, or virtue to express in the moment. There's no referential source you need to get approval from. Trust this.
Okay. Well, yeah, thanks for that insight. I appreciate that. I almost forgot my question now. I got so carried away by your compliment. Okay, back to it. The question's about kids. As you know, I have 4 of them. And it seems like there's just more pressure for kids than there was in my time growing up. What's your view of kids these days, and what prospects do they have? I guess what I mean is that the news isn't that bright. Things like global warming or energy shortages, food prices going up, water shortages, overpopulation, yada yada. When you look underneath the covers, there's a lot of potential problems looming.
Well, yeah, as you know, I haven't had the honor of raising children myself, so I'll begin my response with that admission. It's a complex set of questions you've raised. Let me start by saying that the children become entrained to their culture by the age of 5. If their culture is fear-based, they themselves will generally, with few exceptions, learn this fear. This fear negates or diminishes trust, not only in the outside world or universe, but more importantly in themselves. This distrust expresses itself in very, very subtle characteristics, many of which are not even noticed by parents because they are generational. If children grow in fear, they tend to define themselves in terms of mortality, vulnerability, and isolation. These qualities strangle the expansiveness and scope of spirit that courses through their nervous system, their hearts and minds. Oh, just one moment. Imagine if you had a very powerful vehicle to explore our planet, but you were given a blindfold to wear at the time you were born. The only oddity of this blindfold is that it's relatively transparent at birth. However, each month that goes by, the blindfold becomes more opaque. By the time you're able to really control this powerful vehicle, your blindfold is completely opaque. So now you can drive, but you can't see. Now you can explore, but you can only do so with extreme caution, because you don't really trust your perceptions of your local universe. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a metaphor for how many children feel as they mature. The power of their minds and egos becomes an instrument of division, because they're taught to perceive the outside world as separate from themselves, while the spirit that lives within them, it beats a different message. It says, everything is one being. We are all connected in this universe. Our Creator is benevolent and all-wise. The universe is our body. So there's this dichotomy that frustrates them, because on the one hand there is this mask they inherit from their culture that reduces everything it sees to disconnected parts for the purpose of comparison and analysis. On the other hand, the young person feels this unity and connection of spirit below the surface, sometimes in dreams, sometimes in daydreams, sometimes in art and story, sometimes in real-life experience. Children and young adults can access the intuitive wisdom through the harmonization of their hearts and minds and a bold trust of their instincts, but the flair and